page live? I Love CVille is live. I'm seeing that live. Thank you. Do we have the group live? Okay, I see YouTube is now live. Do we have Twitter live? We're slowly getting the channels up, guys, on the Friday edition. Twitter is live. The Friday edition of the I Love CVille show. Take a look at the headlines for today's storylines. We don't often lead with sports, but it's the first football game of the season. And I think this matchup against the Richmond Spiders and the 2024 season in totality have much more significant implications, impacts, and influences on the area than just a victory or a loss on the gridiron. And I'm going to unpack for you the implications and what's on the line for a 2024 Virginia football season as it applies to Charlottesville and Albemarle County from an economic, social, and political standpoint. Yes, a social and political standpoint. If you guys could like and share the show. We're going to talk on today's program about Board of Visitor member Bert Ellis and what he may or may not have next on his radar, his microscope, his eye line, his eyesight for changes to make at Thomas Jefferson University. We're going to showcase data from the CAR footprint, Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors, as it applies to the first 8 months of the year. And we're going to compare and contrast the first 8 months of the year to the previous 8 months of the year for the years 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2021, 2022, and 2023. Some of this data is absolutely fascinating. How about this storyline for you? 69% of parents that were surveyed, 69% of parents surveyed say it's much more difficult to be a teenager today than it was 20 years ago. We'll unpack that storyline. 2 words: social media. A lot to cover on the I Love CVille show. We'll talk Laura Fonner, the new chef at Beer Run. Laura Fonner is a well-traveled chef, and she is now heading to be the culinary skipper at a local institution. A lot we're going to cover on the show. Like and share the show. If you could do us that pleasure, that would mean the world to us. The only ask we have of you, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Sullivan, Lloyd Snook, Ray Cadell, Jesse Rutherford, Stephanie Rhodes, Nate Kibler, thank you for watching the program. We appreciate you. Rob Neal, thank you for watching the program. Seth Liskey, Trepp Stewart, Molly Crawford, thank you for watching the program. Judah Wickower, our director and producer. We can rock and roll, Judah Wickower, when you're ready. Quiet on the set. Good Friday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the last I Love CVille show in the month of August in the year 2024. Man, summer absolutely flew by. There's a lot we're going to cover on today's program. The whole premise of the show is to be the water cooler of conversation. We want to relay storylines to you that matter and are tied to Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia. We don't care if you guys originate the storylines, pass them on to us. If we do it and you help steer the ship, commentary and content-wise, we just want to be the water cooler. I think today's show embodies that principle. We're going to talk the University of Virginia, the influence Bert Ellis and Youngkin's appointments to the Board of Visitors are having on Thomas Jefferson University. We saw 2 critical changes, significant changes at UVA, school that my dad attended, my brother attended, that yours truly attended, a school that is the region, is absolutely the region, the University of Virginia, from a politics-wise, from an economy standpoint, from a social influence standpoint. The Board of Visitors has suspended the UVA Guide Service, the students that offered tours, admissions tours, to prospective students and parents alike. Now those admissions tours will be offered by basically employees of the admissions office and not an independent organization run by students. I'm going to talk about that today. Obviously, we talked about the protest rules have changed dramatically at UVA. This tied to the pro-Palestine brouhaha that happened in May. Now, frankly speaking, your windows of protest are extremely limited, and if you're caught sleeping outside on the grounds of Thomas Jefferson University, you're going to have to deal with Tim Longo and his police force. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I'm going to ask the question, what is Bert Ellis going to do next? What are the Board of Visitors going to do next when they meet in September for changes at the most prestigious and prominent university in the Commonwealth of Virginia? I want to talk on today's program, CAR Data, Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors. How we make our living is not this podcasting network. Do we love doing the podcasting? Absolutely. Does it keep our businesses top of mind? Our real estate business, our business brokerage business, the funding we raise for small and medium-sized businesses that are looking to scale? Yes, it does. Do we get to partner with amazing clients like Mexicali on West Main Street? If you haven't tried Mexicali on West Main Street, Johnny Ornalis and River Hawkins' latest creation, you're missing one of the best restaurants in the region, period. The artwork is gorgeous. If you have photos you can put on screen, now is the good time to weave those in. Mexicali on West Main Street in the Old World of Beer location has more than 50 parking spots right on site. Guys, try it. It's exceptional. We like working with Mexicali. We like working with Pro Renata. Dr. John Shabe and his team. They're converting the Crozet location into a sports bar. They've moved the brewing operations to the Shenandoah Valley in the old Skipping Rock location, where they purchased equipment that's nearly $1 million in value. And now they're doing real estate development in downtown Stanton. Dr. John Shabe and this team, incredible things happening with the Pro Renata brand. I am so excited for today's show because it kind of encompasses what we want with our 1230 program. We want to be today's digital newspaper. And if you like the show, I very much encourage you to watch it on YouTube. We have found the YouTube platform is the most consistent with our software, with our internet service provider, with our 7 cameras and our microphones. So subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch there. LinkedIn, for example, is not streaming right now, which is irritating the HE double hockey sticks out of me. But there's only so much we can control, and you do the best you can with what you got. Every day you're above the mud. I don't often talk sports to lead the show, but today's a different kind of day because the 2024 football season launches tomorrow at 6 o'clock when the Richmond Spiders visit Scott Stadium, a game that's broadcasted on the ACC network. Depending on where you do your shopping, the Richmond Spiders are a heavy underdog. Last I checked, 18.5-point underdogs. The week started, they were 10-point underdogs. So the folks that are betting say Virginia is going to win, and as a result, that line is moving, and it's moved fast over the course of the week. I'm going to look right now what the line is. It's at 19. It's moved even more. This is not a football game in a season to take lightly. There is so much on the line here, folks. The head coach, we'll start with him. His job, whether we want to admit this or not, is 100% on the line this year. And Tony Elliott's job security, the 3rd highest paid employee of the University of Virginia, when you factor in all the revenue streams with his contract, Tony Elliott, is the 2nd highest paid. Number 1 is Tony Bennett. Number 2 is Tony Elliott. Number 3 is Craig Kent of UVA Health, and number 4 is Jim Ryan. Those are their 4 top paid UVA employees: Bennett, Elliott, Craig Kent, Jim Ryan. And you have the 2nd highest paid employee at the University of Virginia that may lose his job if his team does not perform this year. And his job security, I want you to think about this. A man who makes over $4 million a year, his job security is tied to a rising second year, a 19 or 20-year-old kid, a quarterback, and whether or not he can take care of the football. Think about a career path where your $4 million plus a year job is tied to the performance, the consistency, the emotional stability, and the decision-making of a 19 or 20-year-old. That's pretty much what Tony Elliott has going on right now. And this isn't just a traditional season, guys. This is a season that is critically important for the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Hear me out. Small business owners across the city and across Albemarle County are screaming to all of us saying, we're barely surviving. We're barely surviving. The debt we accrued, most of it floating debt during COVID and the pandemic, is coming due now. We overextended with credit cards. We overextended with lines of credit against our house. We overextended by asking every Tom, Dick, and Harry for money to get us through a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic that was manipulated by politicians for political purposes. Now the collateral damage is our neighbors, our friends, our family that are small business owners. They're begging us to support them, or their survival is on the cusp of being nil, none, chapter 11, all she wrote, fat lady has sung. So this football team and the home football games that are on the schedule, including the one that starts tomorrow at 6 o'clock against the Richmond Spiders, having 60,000 people in attendance versus having what has been over the last 2 years, 25 or 30,000 in attendance, may be the difference of survival and death for some of the locally owned brands that we love to support. You look at the football schedule, I'm going to call it up right now. I'm going to give you the home football games, and then we'll get to the Board of Visitors, we'll get to the housing data, we'll get to Laura Fonner, the new chef at Beer Run. You got the Richmond Spiders at home tomorrow. Then you're at Wake Forest. You got the Maryland Terrapins on home on the 14th of September. That's 2 home games. You got Boston College the 5th of October at home. That's 3. Louisville, home, 12th of October. That's 4. North Carolina, the 26th of October, home. That's 5. SMU, home, 23rd of November. That's 6. 6 home games. The difference between 60,000 at Scott Stadium for a long weekend and 25,000 at Scott Stadium for a long weekend is going to have a dramatic impact on the economy in Charlottesville and Albemarle County and the businesses we want to see survive. I also want to ask you this question. What is it going to be like when 60,000, we hope, visit Charlottesville for a football game and they walk downtown? Will those in attendance that are not regulars or locals, those of us that live here year-round, will they walk up and down the 8 blocks we call the downtown mall with mouth agape like my parents did when they visited from North Carolina a couple of weeks ago? They stopped halfway through the downtown mall. They pulled me aside and said, Jerry, what's happened to where you work? What's happened to where you live? What's going on with these folks sleeping outside, shaking us down for money? How's it gotten to this point? What's the brand and how will it be represented in 6 games when a boatload of outsiders come visit Charlottesville and get a feel for our community again? Because when they come, it's generally around sports. What are they going to see? What are they going to think from a politics standpoint? What are they going to think from a social value standpoint? What are they going to think of an economy standpoint? It's one thing to have a skeleton of a hotel for a decade plus sit in hideous fashion right in the middle of the downtown mall. It's another thing altogether to play hopscotch with piles of human feces around downtown Charlottesville. And that's a very vivid and graphic sentence I just delivered to you, but that's the case. So much on the line at a football season that is much more about wins and losses on a gridiron. You have a 40-something-year-old man and his $4 million job on the line this year. You have a community that's craving economic support. You have a community divided on a political issue tied to houselessness and what to do about it. And we're not alone with that division. It's a storyline that's dividing cities and towns and regions and jurisdictions all over the country. But it's very fresh here in our city because it's a problem we're not accustomed to dealing with. It's a problem that's been a result of COVID and the pandemic. Didn't have this problem in 2019, not to this magnitude. 6 p.m., Richmond Spiders, UVA a 19-point favorite, ACC Network. And I'll close on this. It's not just the 6 home football games that drive economic value. It's the season in totality. When the team does well, even on away games, when Virginia's not playing at Scott Stadium, fans go out to bars and restaurants to watch the team and spend their money. When the team struggles, they don't do that, not nearly with the same momentum. We'll weave Judah Wickhauer into the mix on a 2-shot as we go to our next lower third. Board of Visitor Bert Ellis. We've nicknamed him fondly Razorblade, an Atlanta businessman appointed to the Board of Visitors by the Governor Glenn Youngkin. Now Youngkin's appointments on the Board of Visitors are the majority of the board, as he just put another 4 or 5 on the board in August. We saw the protest rules change. That was announced this week. Your window of protesting. Sure, you can protest, just do it during daylight hours. Sure, you can protest, but you better not use a tent. Sure, you can. Judah's making a point here. Let's make sure he's got his mic on over there.
There we go.
I think they need to get approval for tents, and they have to be... What?
Go ahead. Yeah, I want you to protest what's bad about UVA. I need you to come to the principal's office and get approval from me first. I got beef with what's going on at the University of Virginia, but I need you to go to the office and get directions and approval written that I'm allowed to do something that says you're doing it bad.
No.
What's no?
We're talking about tents, not...
Yeah, we're talking about tents. You want to use the tent? Get approval first.
Yeah.
You want to protest something that's bad about UVA, and you want to cover yourself from the sun and the inclement weather? Go to the office and get approval and get a teacher's note before you start saying nasty things about us.
Okay.
They say you can't sleep outside. There's certain hours that you can protest in. The tour guides, the UVA tour guides, they suspended them. They said you can't do admissions tours anymore, where you were offering political rhetoric, political commentary, and smearing Thomas Jefferson's reputation, linking him to rape and racism,
Yeah.
linking him
Slavery.
to slavery, as opposed to just towing the company line and saying Thomas Jefferson was the founder of the University of Virginia. 2 big moves the Board of Visitors have made. What is next? And think about the position Jim Ryan is in. Jim Ryan, the president, the collateral damage here. In the crossfire, Jim Ryan. Mm-hmm. He is being played like a political pawn. Almost a puppet.
I think he's in a bad position.
Anywhere you want to go on this? I'm very curious of your commentary here.
I think if we're talking about Razorblade Bert Ellis and what he's going to start next regarding UVA, my guess would be that he starts a dust up about DEI.
I think that's a very good bet. That's the next thing I think that is going to be in his crossfire.
I don't know whether it'll be about the money spent on it or just about it being a waste of university time and resources, but that would be my guess. He's gonna come at DEI hard.
He's the co-founder of the Jefferson Council. To understand what Bert Ellis wants to do on the Board of Visitors, you have to understand the missions of the Jefferson Council. Number 1, it's to promote a culture of civil dialogue, the free exchange of competing ideas, and intellectual diversity throughout the university. Number 2, the preservation of the Thomas Jefferson legacy and reputation. Number 3, the preservation of the appearance of the UVA lawn as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And 4, support and reinvigorate the honor system. He wants the honor system to return to single sanction. He wants the lawn not to be a chalkboard or platform for protests. Instead, he wants the lawn to be boring, consistent, and as imagined by the founder of the university as an academic village? I think Judah makes a fantastic point, and I was going to make the same. The next item of concern or beef or conversation that Bert Ellis and his majority BOV is going to be the impact of DEI at the University of Virginia. And he's going to try to whittle that impact down like a number 2 pencil is whittled down after taking the SATs. SATs whittled down number 2 pencil. You have to fill in all those bubbles.
Yeah, sure.
What else whittles down a number 2 pencil? My 20-month-old kid, whenever he uses it and breaks them?
Sharpener.
What's that?
A pencil sharpener.
Did you ever play that game where you would hold a pencil in between your 2 hands and your classmate would try to snap them and break them?
I vaguely remember that game.
Remember those games?
Yeah.
I think you're going to see DEI in the crossfire. I think you're going to see the lawn have some new rules and regulations. Because UVA, it's the students. The students don't own those units.
Right.
They have to apply to live on the lawn. And I would not be surprised if part of the application criteria includes language that says
nasty crap on your door.
You can't post protest rhetoric on your boards, on your doors, or anywhere around your rooms. I bet you that happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I bet you the positioning of Thomas Jefferson from a monument or plaque or history standpoint around the grounds of UVA will become more prolific. It's now in the back seat or in the rearview mirror. And I would bet you the honor code and the single sanction nature of this honor code is something that's going to come into the conversation in the forefront again.
Single sanction mean 1 strike, you're out?
Yeah, that's how it was.
Okay.
That's how it was when my dad went there, when my brother and I went there.
What is it now?
Grace. Empathy. Understanding.
Something to be said for those in moderation. You say no?
It's not how Jefferson founded it.
That's fair.
There's something to be said about I will not lie, cheat, or steal.
Yeah.
Is there grace for lying, cheating, or stealing?
I think in some situations, possibly.
What's the grace for lying, cheating, or stealing?
I don't know. I'm not giving a specific example.
What's the grace for lying, cheating, or stealing?
I don't know. You may be right.
Specifically this question.
I've never gone to UVA.
Specifically this question. If grace is offered for lying, cheating, or stealing, what does that do to all the students who matriculated through UVA prior to grace being permitted?
I don't know about that argument, but
why do you don't know about that argument?
You're essentially saying, I mean, it's the same old argument. We had to walk 10 miles through the snow uphill both ways, so you should have to do the same.
I had to pay my student loans off, and I worked through college, so I didn't have any. But how many people are making this argument? How many people are making this argument? We had to pay our student loans off. Why are you getting student loan forgiveness?
Yeah.
How many viewers and listeners that are watching the program say, what's going on with the student loan forgiveness when everybody else to this point had to pay student loans? And how many other people are going to say this? You're getting student loan forgiveness? You don't have to pay tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars back, and you're utilizing that for other aspects of your life to move it forward, where I had to bust my ass, and I'm talking figuratively and hypothetically here, to pay those loans off and couldn't use it to buy houses or move my life forward? You don't see that?
I get the arguments.
Comps are comps for a reason. It creates consistency. There's a reason in Major League Baseball, Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire are not in the Hall of Fame. Jose Canseco, because they juiced up steroids. If these guys go to the plate and they spike their arm with HGH or steroids, of course they're going to hit the ball farther. Does that put them on an even playing field as Willie Mays? Does that put them on an even playing field as Larry Chipper Jones? Does that put them on an even playing field of Frank Robertson?
All wonderful arguments.
Comps. Utilizing a consistent or even playing field across the board. I don't raise my kids differently. My oldest, who's 6, has the same rules that my 21-month-old has. Does my 21-month-old have a hard time understanding them? Yes, he's 21 months old. But if I allowed my 21-month-old to have liberties like candy before bed and didn't give it to my 6-year-old, we would have World War III in Ivy.
I believe it.
Comps, even playing field. Before we get off this topic, we both think it's going to be DEI and language in the applications if you want to live on the lawn. No longer it can be a protest vehicle or protest platform. We think that Thomas Jefferson is going to be returned to prominence at the university, and this honor code and the single sanction nature of it is going to become a topic of conversation. Let's see how it plays out. What we saw happen this week was the protest rules got completely changed, and the rules and regulations became much more stringent. Mm-hmm. And we also saw that admissions tours were suspended.
Yeah.
Those are two big changes after one meeting.
Mm-hmm.
One meeting that happened. The next one's in September. All right, next headline. Judah Wickower, City Attorney.
Seville City Attorney in even more hot water.
Yeah. We got a city attorney that's on paid leave right now. And I got to give Charlottesville Tomorrow some props again. I find on a weekly basis that I'm giving props to Charlottesville Tomorrow on hard news reporting. I want to encourage the nonprofit news site Charlottesville Tomorrow to continue its reporting of tangible and hard news, the comings and goings and the happenings in City Hall and the intersection of government, the economy, policy, housing, and nonprofits. You guys are doing a bang-up job. Have you noticed that Charlottesville Tomorrow's coverage has pivoted from what was during the Giles Morris tenure, all diversity, equity, and inclusion coverage, or just about all of it, to now hard news reporting?
Oh yeah, they're digging for information on whatever it is that
they're reporting on
strikes their fancy, and
yeah.
I love it. And they're thorough. Sometimes they're reporting on stories that I feel
is almost over-reported.
Well, no, I was going to say sometimes I feel like they're digging into things, and they'll have an article that I feel is missing something, but I think it's because they're still pursuing the story and they're not afraid to get it out there before all the information is in, and as we've seen, they follow up regularly, and the follow-ups are always well done.
They're pivoted.
They're like hound dogs.
They're effing hound dogs. They've pivoted their model.
Yeah.
They've pivoted a model to hard news coverage. Seville Tomorrow, damn good job. Mm-hmm. Set the who, what, when, where, why of their coverage. It was released today on the city attorney and his brouhaha, his dust-up, his drama as it applies to Chesapeake and the mayor of Chesapeake. This ain't a good situation for a guy that currently is on paid leave with the Charlottesville jurisdiction. You disagree with that? All right, first we got to set the stage for the viewers and listeners that may not have seen the article. Go. Who, what, when, where, why. You're getting better at this, Judah. Let's see if you can execute.
So, more information has come out about Charlottesville City Attorney Stroman, and the fact that he used to be the city attorney for Chesapeake. Apparently, he was asked by the mayor to help out with a problem the mayor's brother was having.
Stepbrother.
Stepbrother.
In a different state.
Yeah. in Georgia, Nahunta, Georgia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
A city in Georgia. His stepbrother lived in a city in Georgia. Keep going. Be succinct.
Here's where we may differ on opinion. It doesn't look like he did much more than contact somebody in the Georgia government and basically did a little talking to the person and got, I think it was a something to do with the sewer. The
Yep,
sewage.
septic.
Yeah, and got something put through.
The
for
mayor of
guy.
Chesapeake,
Yeah,
Stroman, the city attorney of Chesapeake. The mayor of Chesapeake went to the city attorney of Chesapeake, Stroman, who is now the city attorney in the city of Charlottesville. He's on paid leave. We don't know why he's on paid leave. The city hasn't told us.
right. And it doesn't have anything to do with the Chesapeake/Georgia thing.
The mayor said, dude, I need your help. My stepbrother's got issues with septic. My stepbrother emailed me and said, I don't want to waste any more money. I'm spending thousands of dollars trying to get to the bottom of this septic issue in Georgia. Help me out. The mayor of Chesapeake sends an email. Why these dudes do this via email is just not savvy. Sends an email to the mayor, to the city attorney, and says, hey, dude, help my brother out. I want you to do this on taxpayer time, and I want you to see if you can recruit anybody else in the Chesapeake City Hall to help this problem, help me, my stepbrother out with this problem. Stroman, little dial, called Georgia, did a little digging, looked in code, figured out a path of attack when it came to the mayor's stepbrother's septic system, asked one of the deputy city managers for some help too, and then gave the mayor a path of attack for him to pass along to his brother, his stepbrother,
I don't
on
even know if it went that far.
how to optimize the scenario and the situation.
It sounds like it was a lot simpler than that.
You can't do that.
It sounds like he made a phone call. Right here. Stroman wrote this in an email to Mayor West. We had a conversation with an official in the Georgia Department of Health. We shared with him our experience that in Virginia, a local ordinance imposing a moratorium on new septic or alternative on-site systems when sewer was not available would be preempted, overruled by state law. I suspect that is what did the trick. Does that sound like he spent days working on this project?
The mayor used taxpayer resources for the benefit of a family member who lives in a different state.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
The perception of the storyline smells and stinks.
Okay.
Is it illegal? Probably not. Is it gray area? Absolutely. Is it creating a stink for the mayor? Most definitely. And is it
Yeah.
creating a stink for a man who's on paid leave for an issue we don't know about? This clouds the paid leave scenario. Further clouds it. Does
Yeah.
it not?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think he's going to do this again? Or do you think he's going to say, Mayor Juan Diego Wade, I don't think I should be doing this?
Do you think Juan Diego Wade is going to come to him?
I don't think Juan Diego Wade would ever ask him to do this.
I don't think so either.
I think Mayor Juan Diego Wade is
I don't think anyone on the
an
on-
extremely ethical person. I don't think there's a single person on the council that would ask him to do anything personal.
Yeah, agreed.
And we can make the argument that the mayor put Stroman in a bad spot because it's the mayor. And then Stroman may say, hey, I'm just doing what the mayor's telling me to do.
He could also say, I didn't do much more than call someone and say, hey, this is how we do it here. Look at what you're denying.
Dude, you have counselors in Chesapeake that are asking the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office to conduct an independent investigation into this.
Yeah.
You have counselors in Chesapeake that are calling for the mayor to resign
Yeah.
and others to probe the incident. The Virginian Pilot has made this front page headlines. The paper that covers Chesapeake and the beach area, the Hampton Roads area. This smells. And it smells of backroom dealing.
Okay.
And it smells at a time where the man can't afford stink because he's on paid leave for something we don't know about.
This article also talks about the fact that while he was still in Chesapeake, he was fighting for more transparency.
I'll add some color to that. The city councilors in Chesapeake denied information in a Freedom of Information Act request. It was a planning commissioner in Chesapeake that was behind the Freedom of Information Act request. And the city councilors would not provide the FOIA content that the Chesapeake planning commissioner wanted in his Freedom of Information Act request. And Stroman, the city attorney, said, you need to do this because if you don't, you're going to get sued potentially if this guy pursues a lawsuit, and you will lose. And you will probably lose.
Yep.
They quote the man who just walked by the hallway, who I think could be walking down Market Street here in this Seville Tomorrow article. Not that man.
I was going to put him on screen, but
maybe they went the other way. They quote Councilor Lloyd Snook as saying, what Stroman did
it's part of the reason we hired him.
It's part of the reason we hired him, because he pushed council members to follow.
He wasn't afraid to go against them.
To do it the right way. He said that wasn't a disqualification, that was a qualification for us. Yeah, but he also highlighted that we had no idea about this I scratch your back, you scratch my back, stepbrother, mayor, septic, Georgia storyline.
Was there a reciprocation?
You do a good deed for your boss is more likely to do a good deed for you. It's called human nature.
That's a lot of speculation.
That's not speculation. That's human nature.
It's speculation.
I get the guy. I get the gentleman that I have a contracting crew. We have a little team that works for us and the properties that we own. I suggest him to friends of mine that also own real estate, including one of them that's watching this program right now, Seth Liskey. So this guy does great work. He's priced well. He's efficient. He's timely. I make suggestions to him. He hires them. My guy's thankful. Future work he needs. Future work I need. Thank you for helping me get more work, Jerry. Maybe I can help you with these projects you have by doing them in more timely fashion, more efficient fashion, better price point. It's just called business. It's business. Regardless, we'll close this topic with this. It's not a good look. You have to give me that.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Especially since he's on paid leave.
And we don't know what for.
And we don't know what for. I'll ask you.
I think the most important thing out of this, we haven't even touched it,
is why hasn't the city told us what he's on paid leave for?
No.
You don't think you don't want to know?
I'm curious, obviously, but I think the most important part of this is that he's been getting paid for how long?
Long ass time. While we're hiring another law firm to be the interim city attorney.
That's what I care a lot more than about him calling someone in Georgia and helping out the mayor's stepbrother. Unless that turned out to be, like some big pay-for-play type thing, which I don't think it is.
It's just a mess.
That it is.
It's a mess. Because I can assure you the Virginian Pilot coverage that broke this news has now got in its newspapers and on its website that he's the city attorney here and that he's on paid leave.
Yeah.
That's just basic reporting. So it doesn't make Charlottesville look good. You give me that?
Yeah. Especially if they've been paying him for, over 100 days?
Yeah. And this dude ain't making chicken liver. You're talking about a guy that's probably flirting with $2 bills in total compensation, $200 in total compensation.
I wouldn't mind a 3-month vacation paid.
What's your next topic today? Oh, Chef Fonner, Laura Fonner.
Yeah.
What'd you make of the beer run use with Laura Fonner?
I think they made out like bandits.
Who's they? Beer run? Josh and John?
Yeah.
All right. You go first on this. Laura Fonner, I believe Laura's watching the program right now. Lower third on screen.
I mean,
Laura Fonner's the new chef at Beer Run.
Yeah.
Previously the chef at Common House.
yeah. Previously, started their own business, sadly with the wrong business partner.
Owned, operated, and was the culinary genius behind Siren and the old Shabine location. She unfortunately was linked to the crumbling Hunter Smith empire and the poorly managed finances associated with that empire. I'm not going to make this about Hunter Smith.
No.
Previously, the executive chef at Dooner's Restaurant. Dooner's Restaurant now owned by Christian Kelly and Jen Kelly. We just moved to that side of town right around the corner, had fabulous meals at Dooner's. Dooner's is as consistent as ever.
She was almost the owner.
She was in
Dooner's.
line to be the owner and chef at Dooner's.
If the pandemic hadn't brought our economy to a screeching halt.
Pandemic brings the economy to a screeching halt. The transition can happen to Laura. Laura has to leave Dooner's, leaves Dooner's because she potentially can't be owner, head chef, leaves Dooner's because Dooner's had to close for a little bit. She's got to make a living. She's a hardworking lady. She's the breadwinner. She's got kids.
Yep.
Goes dumpling food truck. Mm-hmm. Worked at some of Hunter's restaurants, including Champion Grill in Stonefield. Then goes out on her own, thinking she has great infrastructure in place with the Champion Hospitality Group. Opens Siren in the old Shabine location. House of Cards finally crumbles. Bills were not being paid. Not a fault of her own.
No.
She goes from there. She's linked with J.R. Hadley in Sky Bar, the old Sky Bar location that is still shuttered, has not opened. Does not follow through with the Sky Bar spot. Goes to Common House instead. We didn't think it was going to last long at Common House. It's a private setting. It's bougie, not open to the public, a private club.
Yeah.
Her cuisine is all about approachability and the public, the common man, the common woman, home cooking, soul food.
And I'm not sure where you'll find more of that than at Beer Run.
Damn good stoner food she makes. I think her food's amazing. And she's at Beer Run now. As Judah said, I don't think you're going to, that place embodies soul food. Food for the everyday person.
Well, I personally hope that she's found a home there, and that she and Beer Run will enjoy a very successful partnership for years to come. Years
to come.
I mean, as long as she's happy there. I don't want to tie her down, but
her pursuit of happiness is one that I admire. She highlighted on social media, it's that pursuit of happiness and living life to the fullest that is a foundation for her decision making.
Yeah.
You find it unique that it's a restaurant like Beer Run where someone that is an extremely talented chef has landed.
I don't know. I mean, lacking knowledge in why she made the move. It could be, like you said, that Common House just wasn't open enough for her. Was too.
I mean, in a lot of ways, Common House is the antithesis of the Laura Fonner brand that I know.
Yeah, and Beer Run is much more accessible.
Even Dooner's, when she was doing Dooner's is the definition. It's higher price point. It's a higher price point. It ain't cheap, but it's approachable.
Yeah.
It's a converted house. Mm-hmm. It's far from bougie.
Yeah.
The Beer Run menu, nachos, hummus, chicken wings, pierogies, biscuit and pimento, soups, salads, burgers, sandwiches, Cuban sandwiches, shrimp and grits, catfish. The highest priced entree on the Beer Run menu, what do you think that number is? If I put the over-under at $20, would you take it under or over for the highest price entree currently on the Beer Run menu?
Oh, man. That's a tough one because I know prices have gone up across the board in restaurants lately. I'd go under.
You won the bet. Chicken pot pie, $18.50. The top priced item on the Beer Run menu, is $18.50, and it's a chicken pot pie with the bolognese in second place at 18 bones. This is Beer Run's game.
Yeah, I could see them doing daily specials.
I think that's absolutely
Laura Fauner's daily specials because there's no reason. I mean, the restaurants got to have stuff in place so that their food is consistent no matter who's cooking.
All right.
So they certainly don't need her to, like you said, make nachos or a banh mi sandwich. But I could see them drawing a lot of people for say Fauner's Daily Specials.
I think the Fauner Daily Special is going to be reality. I also want to highlight this. The open nature of Beer Run's kitchen is an opportunity for Laura to further build her personal brand. You, as chef at Beer Run, can interact with your clientele. They will see you. You'll be face to face. And it's not just going to be with diners, but it's going to be the retail customers as well. I think this is a tremendous score. And I'm curious if this is also her presence going to be parlayed into the Cardinal Hall menu as well, the sister restaurant of Beer Run. Once established and set up at Beer Run, will she also offer her expertise and talents at Cardinal Hall in some capacity? Very curious of that.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge score for Josh and John.
No doubt.
If I put the over-under of 24 months that Laura is the chef at Beer Run, would you take the over or under?
That's not fair. I think I'd take the under.
You'd take the under on 24 months? So would I. I'd take the under on 24 months too. The last topic of the show, I believe, is, we have two more topics. Put the car data on screen. This was from Real Talk from Keith Smith this morning. I'm going to spend 90 seconds on this. Let us know when the graph is on screen. We're going to put the first 8 months of units sold and price point for those units sold in 2024 across the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors footprint. And we're going to compare the first 8 months of 2024. Look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen, to the first 8 months of 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. The first thing you'll notice, Judah, the first 8 months of this year, to keep the graph on screen. The first 8 months of this year, the top line, the orange line, shows that we have had 2,054 houses sold. And this is all types of homes, including new construction. Condos, townhomes, single-family detached, new construction. 2,054 units sold in the first 8 months this year. No other year from 2016 until this year has there been less units sold than 2024. The only one that could possibly compare is last year, where through the first 8 months of the year, there were 2,205 units sold. That is a difference.
Which was the previous lowest.
That was a difference, which was the previous lowest, right, exactly. It shows you that no inventory is coming on the market. The inventory is not coming on the market for a number of reasons. The first reason is the lock-in effect of people securing 2.5 and 3% loans during COVID, and they don't want to give them up.
Yeah.
The second reason is the red tape associated with new construction. New construction, the red tape in government, the cost of goods, the cost of labor is keeping new units from coming on the market. Hell, the political pressure, the social pressure from taxpayers saying we don't want more construction is keeping units from coming on the market. The new zoning ordinance through the first 8 months of the year is done diddly in the city of Charlottesville. Diddly. Now look at the bottom line. The bottom line is price point. The highest median sales price from 2016 to now, $480,000 median sales price car footprint.
I mean, that's the highest ever, right?
Highest ever.
I don't.
And you know, if you pulled out the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County, it would be even higher than that.
Yeah.
Because that number gets pulled down some by Fluvanna, Louisa, Buckingham, Greene. City of Charlottesville and Albemarle County is well over 5 bills.
Yeah.
So you have the lowest amount of units through the first 8 months of the year and the highest price point through the first 8 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That is compelling data right there.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to this?
I mean, it would be nice if I don't know about the other locations, but it would be nice if Charlottesville could maybe focus on making it easier for building to happen. You don't think so?
I want to see the localities prioritize infrastructure before they prioritize building.
Well, that too.
I want to see the localities prioritize getting kids to school on time and having enough bus drivers and making sure our roads are safe and making sure kids are not learning in trailers and have teacher to student ratios that are not 24 or 25 to 1. I want to see police forces full. I want to see the infrastructure that's used to support the houseless population improved, because we have an epidemic on our hands in the city of Charlottesville, and it's worsening. This houseless crisis is worsening. Mm-hmm. I've seen in 2024 alone, I would put it between 15 times people spiking their arms, shooting up heroin, literally in public during broad daylight.
Damn.
15 times alone I've seen in 2024. That's probably a conservative number of a houseless person spiking their arm and shooting H. Okay? It's one thing seeing it yourself. It's another thing seeing it when your kids are with you. And you got a precocious and inquisitive and quick to notice 6-year-old wondering what the hell's going on. And then you got to think on your feet how you're going to answer that. How do you answer that? Dad, what's that guy doing with his arm and putting in his arm? What is he doing over there?
Drugs are bad. Okay.
How do you answer that to a 6-year-old? Seriously. It's not in the parent playbook. How do I answer that question?
Sometimes honesty is the best policy.
Oh, son, he's shooting white china into his arm, and that's why he's diarrheaing down his leg and has peed his pants. That's what you want me to tell him? Honesty is the best policy.
That's not honesty.
That's what you just told me. Honesty is the best policy. That's white china, son.
That's embellishment.
He's chasing the dragon, son. That's what you want me to tell him? Come on. I ain't going to tell him that. I say, let's try to change the subject.
Ugh. Well, I hope you don't do that throughout your child's tenure in your house.
I'm going to do it when he's 6. What do you want me to do? What should I tell him?
I tell him that's drugs, and if you don't want to end up looking like that,
You want me to tell my 6-year-old that
don't do drugs.
He's shooting H at 1:30 in the afternoon on 3rd Street? I'm not going to do that.
All right. Well, then I don't know why
I'm
you're
not going to
asking
do
my
that.
advice.
I'm not going to do that. Said, I don't know, son, but did you look at that building over there? Looks pretty cool. How do you think they build that roof that tall?
Look, a bird. No, it's a plane.
I'm not going to tell him that. And another thing, some kids are sensitive. I'm probably one of the least sensitive people you'll meet.
What do you
viewers
have
and
sensitive
listeners.
how?
I was having this conversation with one of the viewers and listeners. A lot of people, and it's not just kids, a lot of people get very hurt or feel the pain or are sensitive or are impacted by what they see. My wife is like that.
Okay.
Like, concern, worry. And you don't want your kids to have those feelings early in life.
But they're going to have them anyway.
I know they're going to have them anyway, but part of your job
aren't contingent on your explanation of matters.
Part of your job as parents is to shelter your kids from circumstances that may impact them negatively. And you're not going to be able to do that forever, but there's time and place for them to have these feelings and these interactions. And that time and place is probably not first grade.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just a guy that's trying to make it to bedtime with 2 wild animals that live in our house. And I'm not talking about Max, the German Shepherd. They walk around on 2 legs. They know one speed and it's 1,000 miles an hour. Last topic. Maybe it's tied to this one right here. 69% of parents who have kids aged 13 to 17 say growing up today is harder than it was in 2024, according to a Pew Research Center survey.
I believe it.
44% of the kids between age 13 and 17 say the same. That's startling. 69% of parents who have teenagers said being a teen today is more difficult than when they were a teen themselves.
The funny thing about this is that I thought they were talking about, a long time ago, and then I get to the part where they say a whopping 69% of parents who have kids ages 13 to 17 say growing up is harder today than it was in 2004.
Yeah, we're old.
I'm like, 2004?
We old, dude.
It's changed a lot more than just in the last 20 years. But yeah, I believe it. It's got to be a very, very different landscape than it was when we were kids, and even when people were kids.
We're going to look back as parents, and we're going to say this: good Lord, we gave preteens and toddlers and our kids and our teenagers a computer that allowed them to watch anything they wanted, interact with complete strangers, share pictures of themselves in skimpy clothes and bathing suits or with no clothes on at all.
Despite best evidence that the people that created the apps that we're all on do not allow their kids near them.
Exactly.
I mean,
the people that created the apps don't allow their kids to use them. But we as parents are going to let our kids use our iPads, our phones, use the apps, share pictures of themselves, sometimes without any clothes at all, look at pictures of other kids that have filters on the pictures to make them look beautiful and not like they actually are in real life. And we're going to hope and cross our fingers and pray that this is not going to negatively impact our kids. Right there. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Good God. And if you're a parent and you don't give your kid the phone or the iPad or let them have Snapchat or TikTok or Instagram, you're a terrible, 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 terrible person in the eyes of your kids.
Haven't kids been saying that about their parents since the beginning of kids and parents?
Yeah, but Mad Magazine is a hell of a lot different than TikTok.
No doubt. But
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is a hell of a lot different than Snapchat.
But the fact of the matter is,
The Simpsons and Family Guy.
Parents throughout history have had to decide what to allow and what not to allow. And saying that things are different now and it's a phone and everybody else has them is...
Mad Magazine, AOL, and Instant Messenger didn't cause addiction issues.
That's an even stronger reason to not allow them to guilt trip you into giving them a phone or an iPad or allowing them to sit and stare at a screen of any sort for, half the day.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. Someone marry this guy over there so he can bang out some bambinos. Please. He's single and ready to mingle, ladies and gentlemen.
That was well put.
I think you'd make a great parent, but it ain't easy. Parenthood, the best, hardest thing ever, and the longest, shortest thing ever. That's how I describe parenthood to people. The best, hardest thing ever, and the longest, shortest thing ever. And I got this advice from my buddy, Connecticut Dave. He said, crackheads and cave people have successfully raised children, and you're neither of those, Jerry. Good luck and giddy up. Then he gave me a pat on the butt.
Find yourself a cave and some crack.
Is that 3rd Street in downtown Charlottesville?
I don't know if there's a cave over there.
Friday, I Love CVille show. For Judah Wickhauer, I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody.